welcome to Unleashed, a producer's guide to indie filmmaking. My name's Avi Federgreen. Thank you for joining us for episode 111. And today I have a lovely guest all the way from Vancouver, but this right now she's in her cabin in Alberta, a great producer, a wrestler, who I met her
Yes.
originally as when she was a wrestler, which I think she still is a wrestler, and a director, and she's many, many things, good at everything that she does, or I should say great at everything she does. Ladies and gentlemen, please meet Kate Kroll.
Hi, happy to be here.
Thanks for joining us today. Um, Kate, this show is basically a no holds barred talk about indie filmmaking, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I generally focus more on the bad and the ugly than I do the good. Although there is a lot of good for sure, but it takes to get to the good, you got to go through the bad and the ugly, right?
Yes.
So I'd like to start off with, how did you get into this crazy business called film and television, and where did it all begin, and how did you get to, directing now and producing and all these things that you're doing in the industry now?
Okay. Yeah, I grew up in a really small town in Alberta, and as soon as I graduated high school, I was like, get me the heck out of here. I'm leaving. And so I went from a town with like two stoplights to Toronto. That's like that's how it went. So I moved to Toronto and I was like, really wanted to work in the film industry. So I volunteered on a bunch of music videos. I volunteered as a PA and had a lot of fun. I went to film school in Thunder Bay, believe it or not, and then ended up in Vancouver after graduating film school. Um, so that's kind of how that went. And yeah, I've been producing and directing, my own projects since 2010, 2009.
Yeah,
And then I've been line producing both scripted and unscripted, um, story producing, reality television.
right,
Um, yeah, just I started as a post-production coordinator and post supervisor. So
right.
yeah, I was tired of standing outside in the rain as a PA. I was like, get me in the post-production office right
Right,
away.
right.
Yeah, I don't I don't really know where I'm going with all of this.
Well, I mean, like, so, you've obviously done various different jobs in the industry,
Mhm.
but where did it all begin where you started creating and developing your own stuff?
Right. Oh, well, I mean, even before I graduated high school, I remember like making these crappy little movies with my friends, and then the kids in class would like make our teachers screen our movies in
Right,
class. Like,
right.
my first ever sale was a teacher bought one of my movies for $1.
That's great.
Yeah, that was really nice of him.
Yeah,
It's embarrassing though, because I'm like, oh, that's out in the world. Uh-oh. Um,
it's probably on
but
the internet somewhere.
it was on a VHS. That's how old I am. Um, but you know what? So after I moved to Vancouver and I worked as a PA, then I was working in the post-production office, and I was like, okay, no, this is not what I set out to do.
Right.
I have to make something. And at that time, we had the DGC Kickstart Award.
Yeah,
And so I got a Kickstart grant to make a short film.
right.
And I also got Bravo Fact when we had Bravo Fact
Hmm.
for that film. So that was like that was a kickstart for me.
Right.
And it was nice that we had those funds that we don't have now. So we've got new funds now, but we've also lost some of the other funds that really helped elevate filmmakers early on in their career.
Yeah, I don't think there's really any fun for short film anymore.
I don't really know. I wouldn't know what to do now.
Yeah,
I mean, there's the DGC Spotlight Award or the
right,
Spotlight grants or
right.
something. Because I know Karen Lamb got one. I know a couple of
Hmm.
people who, so that's great. But yeah, it's a bit more tough to get your short film made unless you can make it on your own with your own money.
Right,
And that was really helpful. And so I quit my job to make that short film because I was like, this is what I want to do. And
right.
then I was so lucky. My amazing boss, he he put it as though I was laid off instead of quit. So I got EI, and then while I was on EI, I met another filmmaker named Melissa James, and together we just started documenting the underground music scene in Vancouver. And when I say underground, I mean like literally underground and like illegal music venues. And we made this documentary called No Fun City that we ended up selling to Super Channel. And it played festivals around the world and won awards and was mentioned in Rolling Stone magazine. Like
Mm.
it just kind of exploded. I think we just made it at the right time. And um yeah, and like with the heart of all the people in it, it just really like came through in the film. And so that was kind of my first launching pad into filmmaking.
Right.
Yeah, and it was just like quitting my job and saying, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it. And I was so broke. I still am so broke for the record. I'm not so broke, but you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
not making that much more money.
No, no.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, you do the line producing gigs and stuff like that to pay the bills, so it allows
Yes,
you the ability to make your own stuff, which is basically
exactly.
what you've been doing since you got out of film school, is that you work, you make money, then you go and make something, and then you go back to making money
Hmm.
for somebody else, and then you go make something, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
Um, and so, like, you've got a bunch of new projects that are, well, you've done like numerous documentaries that you've been involved in. Luna, for example, which is a doc that you did um, on Luna Vachon, if I'm correct,
Yes.
that
Lunatic. Yeah. Luna Vachon.
that did really quite well, actually.
Thank you.
And I've seen it. I think it's really great. I'm a wrestling fan. I grew up in
Oh,
Alberta where they had Stampede Wrestling.
oh, hmm.
And so I knew my father was close friends with Stu Hart, and I've
Oh,
been in the
wow.
dungeon. I got my ass kicked in the dungeon
Wow.
by Owen Hart and by Brad Hart and some of the other Brian Pillman and a bunch of other people
That's
who I
amazing.
knew. And so I know that the Luna Vachon was a project was very near and dear to you to make. And then now recently you have a new project with you've now partnered with Karen Lamb to make some films together. Your first venture called Adventure Road is
Armageddon Road.
sorry, Armageddon Road is playing the festival circuit right now, and um, you know, I'm going to be distributing it in North America with you
Yes.
guys. Um, and everybody out there should look for the film to come out um, soon in theaters and then eventually on VOD and so on and so forth. But, it's making films today isn't like they were when we were making films 10 years ago, right? Access to money was different. The
Hmm.
cost to make films was different.
Hmm.
Wow. What do you see it as what was then versus now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a tough time right now. I mean, on the plus side, we have access to cameras and like even your iPhone, you could make a 4K, you know,
Yeah.
film with really that's like decent looking.
Yeah.
So we have access to technologies um that really make filmmaking accessible. Um But everything's gone up, especially since COVID. So like fuel's gone up, food's gone up, um, you know,
Even the
crew, like
cost to the crew has gone
the
up, the
cost of crew
insurance has
and
gone up, everything's gone up.
everything's gone up, but like the financing hasn't gone up, in my opinion. So
Mm.
like what we're getting from telefilm, if you're going, the telefilm and CMF route, that's still the same. The broadcast sales, if you're lucky enough to get one, which is like near to impossible,
Yeah,
like a pre-sale, that's like still the same, if not maybe even less. So we're getting a smaller pool of money, but we're expected to make
a high
something that looks
quality
like a
film.
$10 million movie.
Yeah,
Exactly. And
yeah.
so that's been tough, but we have a lot of great crew out there in Canada. We're so blessed. We really
Mhm.
have great people, really talented people. I'm just starting to think of like, okay, how do we do this differently now? I mean, we are seeing success stories with these low budget $500,000 films, like
Mhm.
Undertone, for example,
Yeah,
which is really cool. But like, what's in it for the crew to be working for not
nothing.
a lot of money?
Yeah.
So, do we start doing kind of like a back end share pool with the crew? That's what I've been thinking about doing maybe for my next film, my next low budget film is
Right.
doing something kind of like when I work with UBCP or ACTRA
Yeah,
in BC. When you're doing like the low budget features, the actors have like they share like a percentage of the distributor's gross revenue.
right.
So I'm like, let's do that for the crew because if you are making a $500,000 movie and then everyone's taking pay cuts, but then you sell it for 8 million, like what I'm reading online, then I do feel like the crew should have some kind of compensation, So again, I don't even know where that 8 million, is it really 8 million? Is like Avi, do you know? So, for example, Undertone, like that 8 million, was that real or was that inflated or did
Well,
some of
that's
the costs
gross
go to?
box office. That doesn't
Okay,
necessarily
yeah,
mean what's coming to the
the filmmaker.
A24. And
Right.
then of that, how much is A24 taking it versus how much the filmmaker gets from it?
Hmm.
Maybe the filmmaker makes virtually nothing.
Yeah. That's what I'd be so curious to
It's
know.
yeah, and I mean, obviously, the filmmaker who I know, um, is now getting a chance to do another movie with
Hmm.
A24 for which they're going to finance. Um, and I think a reboot of Paranormal Activity maybe might be the project. But you look at other films that have been coming out recently, like Backroom and other films like that. I mean, it's lightning in a bottle right now that it's genre,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And there's no guarantee that any of these movies would break like they have,
Right.
right? So, um, they all were made for small budgets. I think Backroom was made for 7 million, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Um, but I mean, these movies are making millions and millions of dollars. Backroom, I think, opening weekend was like 81 million or something like that. It's
Oh,
insane.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So, I mean, it's possible to make these movies, um, but how do you raise the $500,000 to make it? Right? Like most of
Yeah.
the movies that I make, as you know, are under $400,000 Canadian, of which 40% of that is tax credits. Where
Hmm.
do I raise the other 60%? Which
Yeah.
is a couple $100,000 or so, but
Hmm.
that doesn't grow up on trees, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to get that money from a funder. It's private money,
Hmm.
probably. And those private investors are a dime a dozen. Like they're not out there. Like they're hard to find.
Yeah,
And it's all risk. There's no guarantee that
it's
they're going to
all
see their
risk.
money back,
It
right?
really is, and there's a good chance that they even won't see their money back, unfortunately, because it's really hard to sell your film after you've made it.
Well, I can tell you 90% of the movies that I've made, I've recouped the investor's
Well,
money.
that's good. Okay.
So, and the other 10% is I'm really close to them being fully recouped. So, but it's because I'm making them for super small,
Hmm.
very little, very little equity, so that it's not a big risk, right?
Hmm.
And I'm still making movies that look like they were made for $2+ million, but they're made for like nothing. And they're
Right.
made for genre audiences and buyers that know, that are buying this kind of content. Is it the kind of movies that I would like to make as a filmmaker? No. Obviously we all have our um types of films that we love to make that we're passionate about. There are sort of pet projects that hopefully I get to make if I'm making money on these other things that I can then turn around and make the stuff that I'm really passionate about and want to make, like I did with Home Free. But it's hard. It's hard out there. And it's hard for us to get employment on other people's movies also, where it used to be much easier. There's less content being made right now because most of the broadcasters, etc., are scared. They're running scared. They don't know what to
Hmm.
put their money into. I just came back from Cannes, and the buyers weren't buying because they think everything is too much risk. And if they're going to take it, they don't want to give a minimum guarantee. They want to do a straight deal, which means that the filmmaker will never see money, nor will the sales agent, because the distributor will bury it in expenses.
Yeah.
So the marketplace is in a big, big, big downturn right now.
Yes. Yeah. I
And
mean, I'd love to hear a bit more about Cannes and what you learned this year at Cannes.
I learned that I should have gone into becoming a doctor or a dentist or a vet, is what I learned. Um, but like the independent world makes a lot of sense right now.
Hmm.
The studios really are gung shy. I mean, because out of 10 films that they make, one may hit.
Right.
And they've spent millions and millions of dollars on duds.
Mm.
So, and then all the amalgamation that's going on with studios like Paramount, with Warner Brothers, and so on, it's a big, question mark what the studios are going to do. Other jurisdictions like New Jersey are getting more production and less coming
Yes.
to Toronto. BC is not getting as much work as it used to get. Service rise wise, very little domestic production goes on in BC, as opposed to Toronto. Um,
Hmm.
and I think, like I've been doing most of my shows non-union crew because I can't afford to go union. I just can't.
Yeah. Same here.
And the unions have their floors for what the budget can be before you can go and get dispensation is so high that it makes no sense to use union members because you can't afford to pay them their union rate. So it's a problem. The industry is in free fall.
Yeah. It is. I mean, I have been finding that the union, at least out in BC, the
Yeah.
unions that I've been dealing with have been actually really good at
Well, UBCP has always
supporting.
been good and supportive of.
UBCP's always,
Yeah.
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 I've been talking a lot with IATSE.
Yeah.
They've been great. ACFC was
Right.
really supportive of the last film that I line produced and
Mhm.
gave us a discount.
Right.
Um, And DGC has been really good at dispensating my productions, my
Yeah.
low budget
Dispensating.
productions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've been pretty lucky out here in BC, and
Right.
they've been willing to work with us. So I
Right.
will give them props for that.
Right.
Although, but what you get stuck in is working with, I've worked with so many great people, crew who are members, and
Yeah.
they worked maybe as non-union or in their union, but
Yeah.
sometimes you get the crew members who are used to working on the big productions
Yeah.
like the Deadpools and the, I don't know, like the what are they shooting right now? The Last of Us.
Right.
And then they come onto your tiny little thing and I'm like, no, you cannot, you don't have the same budget. Like you have to work and think very differently,
Hmm.
and sometimes that's hard for these union crew members to think differently when they're working on these like big
Yeah.
Netflix shows that are just like throwing money at problems, right?
Right.
So that's been an issue with that's been my biggest issue working with union members, but I've worked with so many great
Now
union
I know
members.
that the Luna Vachon doc, you got funding from CMF, I think.
I got CMF, POV Fund,
Right.
Telefilm,
Yeah.
Creative BC,
Yeah.
and Hot Docs Ted Rogers, which I don't
Yeah.
know
So
if Hot
you ran the table essentially.
Yeah, I got really lucky.
Right.
We got a lot of support for that film.
Now
Mhm.
then cut to Armageddon Road, which was independently financed, right?
That's right.
And
Yes.
because trying to get the funding for a movie like that is hard.
Yeah, exactly. Armageddon Road, because it's just so wacky.
Yeah.
And I even have a hard time pitching it because it's just so crazy. Like, because we used the miniatures and the volume wall and
Maybe you
um
should tell the audience
yeah,
about what a
okay.
volume wall is.
So the volume wall or the volume stage is like that big LED wall that's like almost, I think it's like 180 degrees. And I think it's like it got really famous because they filmed Mandalorian on one of these stages.
Right.
But basically it's like you put like this video or images on the screen and then you can put your characters in it and it's like they're at that location, but you're just in a studio. And you know, we filmed like car chase scenes, for example. And a lot of the all the driving scenes in the film on the stage so that it looked like they were driving in the Nevada desert, but we were
Right.
in Delta, BC.
Right.
Um, so yeah, and then we filmed these miniatures and blew them up on the volume stage, and we did like a
Right.
car chase scene with miniatures. Like it's so unique, and Karen Lamb, the director and writer, just had a really unique vision for the film, but
Right.
it's not it's it's not commercial. It's not a commercial film. Like I think a lot of people don't know what to do with it in terms of other distributors who we spoke with. I mean, luckily we're working with you, Abby, and I'm
Yeah.
sure you have a wonderful plan for
I
it.
don't. I'm completely. I may look like I have a really great plan with it, and I have no friggin' idea.
It's a
I
tough one,
mean,
but it's
it
culty.
is bonkers, this movie, like in so many ways, but as a filmmaker, I have huge appreciation for it because it was completely think outside the box to make a
Hmm.
film that has all kinds of challenges. And if you were to look at it straight up as making a film, you would never be able to afford the budget to make it
Yes.
in the traditional way of real car chases and going into the desert and all these other things that you guys accomplished in the studio and on location in BC. You would never, that movie would cost you $5 to $10 million.
Oh, yeah, at least. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's what the, you know, low budget filmmaking, having to think outside the box, like it, because we shot it that way, it really gives the film a cool style. And we
Right.
really leaned into it instead of trying to make it look realistic. We leaned into the like Terry Gilliam of it all.
Right.
And and I think the film's better for that. So I do think sometimes when you have constraints, it makes you have to be more creative and maybe make a better film than you would have if you had a huge budget.
Right. I mean, and are you living more in documentary now, or are you living more in narrative world?
I'm straddling that fence
Yeah,
and I love it. And I don't want to pick a side because I love both worlds so much.
right.
Um, like in documentary, I get to do things that I would never get to do in real life. Like I filmed at the UN for 9 days and like got like full access to the UN, or like I've been able to like film in this little town in Italy where the Ndrangheta um like gang was formed, and like just like all these really cool places.
Right,
And I love documentary so much.
yeah,
I love people's stories.
right.
But I also love scripted filmmaking and the creative freedom we get, and we just the world's your oyster when you're writing a script, right? So
But I would
um
say
yeah,
in financing documentary, you have a lot more access to funding opportunities than you do with narrative.
maybe, maybe. I don't know if that's maybe. I don't know. I You could be right. I
I
mean, you
mean,
can.
look, television, and if you can get a broadcaster, that triggers all kinds of potential things, right?
Yeah,
Whereas narrative, it's going through the traditional funding that is you're competing against 100 other people every year for 8 to 10 spots, right?
yeah,
It's hard, and
yeah,
you know, um, and if you don't go that direction, then you're going the private funding scenario, and there's limitations to that scenario as
yes,
well, right?
yeah,
So, I mean, if you've got a great doc and you've got a broadcaster totally interested, then you can basically, like you did with Luna, you can run the table potentially.
yeah. I mean, and it's easier to make a film for less money with documentary,
Well,
right?
you only have a
So,
crew of like 2 to 6
yeah,
people, right?
yeah.
Like as opposed to 25 or whatever people. And you
But you
have
need like,
time to shoot the doc as opposed to narrative where you don't.
yeah, yeah. You do have time. I feel like it's like double post-production in terms of
Yeah,
editing. It's
yeah.
like double the amount of editing. And then, a lot of archival footage, and like that's a big expense. But yeah, I do feel, yeah, and I just love both. I just love both
Well, and the
forms of
doc that you
filmmaking.
start with is not the doc you end up
Never.
with.
No.
No,
No.
no,
No.
no. So, I mean, through these years of being an independent filmmaker, like where do you think we're at now? Where do you think we're going?
Mm.
What are the challenges now? What are the good things that are available to us now and audiences? Like where do you think we are and where we're going?
Well, I've been trying to learn more and be open more to vertical format
Right,
filmmaking.
right.
Um, oh, that's because I do see us going a lot in that direction, and I'm really, really hoping that the quality and the stories begin to elevate.
Yeah, because
But
right
I'm
now I would tell you most of them
no.
I wouldn't waste my time with.
It's yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But I watch like 80% of the content that I watch is on my phone.
right. Yeah,
If it's TikTok or even movies and TV shows, a
yeah,
lot are on my phone.
right,
So I do kind of see us going in that direction, and I feel like I need to understand it and get on that wave.
right.
Um, but I also I feel like we're in a place where um, indie films are having a resurgence. I mean, we're seeing that right now with Undertone and um oh my God, I'm going blank. But there's
Session.
yeah, Obsession, that's the one I was thinking
Yeah,
of. We're seeing that, although it's like I've been reading a lot of articles about how it's just these like TikTok bros, or not TikTok, YouTube bros and it's like, where are the women at the table? I'm always thinking about
Well, it's
that.
the director for Undertone and for Obsession and for Backroom, they're all in their 20s.
Yeah.
Like the young, and nobody's ever heard of or whatever, and
Hmm.
they were able to make this movie based on private money, etc.
Hmm.
And it blows up to the point where Neon takes it or A24 takes it, and once they get their hands on it, then the amount of distribution revenue is endless, right? But it's these young people who are now coming out of nowhere and blowing everybody's
Hmm.
socks away, including the box office,
Yeah.
whereas all the older, more seasoned filmmakers aren't getting the opportunities that they used to get, and the budgets aren't getting any easier to get financed, and so on and so forth. So it's being that really cool creator who's making content that they know that the audiences want,
Yeah.
making it for a small amount of money, and then they get picked up by a big studio, and then the rest is history, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and good for them. It's great. My fear is that these low budget films are making a lot of money in the box office, and that studios or financiers will say, well, look, they did it for 500,000, so just do it for 500,000. And then it's like people don't understand how difficult it really is, because you're begging for favors constantly. You're underpaying crew. You're sometimes not paying people. So it's like, it's almost like slave labor. But so part of me is like, oh, I don't want to really go down that road where all of a sudden they're saying, well, look, they did it for 500, so you're only getting this amount and make it. Because that's not really sustainable as an industry.
No, but I mean, like if you
Mhm.
look at the filmmaker for Undertone, his next project, which is going to be a much, much, much bigger budget,
Yes.
he's insisted that he shoots it in Toronto with the crew that shot Undertones so that they can benefit from helping him make his first feature, which
Good.
I
Good
think
for
is
him.
super awesome that he's
Hmm.
doing that and fighting for the people that helped him get where he is. Most times the filmmaker will just go shoot their next movie in LA or whatever
Yeah.
and basically thank you everybody for helping me make my first film so successful. I'm moving to LA and I'm going to work with the LA people, whereas he's said no, I'm not going to do that, and I hats off to him for doing
Yeah.
that.
Hmm.
And I think that more filmmakers need to do that because you're right. I mean, the crews, etc., are giving of themselves. They're not making the amount of money that they're used to making on the bigger shows and so on and so forth. But that's why I normally shoot my films at a time of year where nobody's working, like
Hmm.
November or January or February, so that, yes, they get paid, but no, they're not getting paid a union wage, but they're getting paid at least minimum wage, most of the time over minimum wage, but on a flat, so that they're getting I respect them enough to pay them a proper wage, feed them properly, keep them warm, and do that. But you know I'm sacrificing that I never get paid to make those movies because I'm reinvesting my fees to make them.
Yeah.
And I hope
Hmm.
that, my hope is that I see money on the back end, right?
Hmm.
um so I haven't gotten paid to make a movie in years, because I've reinvested my fees every time to make it, um, which isn't a good business model, to be honest, unless you make a film that is successful, which
Hmm.
most of the films that I'm making in the genre I'm being successful and everybody's getting paid back on the back end, and I'm making some money. Um, but it's not a living.
No, it's not a living.
And it's not sustainable for sure. And everybody thinks that being in the film industry is so glamorous and oh my God,
Hmm.
the stars and everything. It's so exciting, and people don't really understand, especially as independent filmmakers, what we have to do or give up to make the stuff that we make.
100%. Yep.
And I thank
100%.
God for our partners that who,
Hmm.
live with us, support us, believe in
Yeah.
us, um, and watching us go through what we go through to make
Yeah.
stuff that we make. I mean, without them, where would we be, right?
I mean, that's my biggest advice that I always give to young filmmakers. I'm like, find a partner, like a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever,
Right.
husband, wife, who just works a normal job, but is very supportive
Right.
of your career and
Right.
will hold down the fort when you're reinvesting your fees. For example, like my husband works for an online marketing company and he
Mhm.
works from home. We have a 4-year-old. So
Yeah.
he's like, when I'm away filming, he's the one that's the dad, the stay-at-home dad, and picking up from daycare, dropping off to daycare, and
Right.
making the steady income when I'm not working because I'm like focusing on development or what it might be. So it's like get a muggle, find a muggle, and stay
I
with that
have not
muggle.
heard anybody use that word in a long time.
I've never even seen Harry Potter, but I do know the word.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like, when you were in film school, thinking back on it now, did you think that it would be the way it is right now?
No,
What did
no.
you think it was going to be?
I thought it was gonna be Hollywood.
Right.
Like I thought it was just gonna be like Hollywood. Yeah, I didn't think I'd be where I am now. It's funny, I always tell Karen, my co-producer,
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like I'm chasing the dragon for it's been like 20 years of chasing the dragon
Right.
of like, okay, the next, this one's gonna hit and then the next one's gonna be bigger. But it's like it's still the same.
But when you meet young filmmakers who've just gotten out of film school, and they say, "Can I take you out for coffee and get your advice?" It happens to me all the time.
Yeah, me too.
What do you tell them?
I'm like, pick another career. Like, don't do this to yourself. Like, you've got to really want it because it's hard. It's so hard. And I remember I was thinking of this today. Our teacher in film school said, you know, everyone wants to be a director. He's like, who here wants to be a director? And like everyone raised their hand. Everyone wants to be the director
Right.
on set. And he's like, be a technician. Be that person that like everyone has to go to get the film made. So like if you're like an incredible visual effects artist or an amazing gaffer or something, it's like be the technician because they always need you and they need more of you than just
Right.
one director that's on the movie, right?
Right. Right.
We need like a big lighting team or we need like a team for lighting, but we just need one director.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I was like, yeah, that was really smart advice. Be the technician, make the money, you're still making the film but you're like you have more of the steady life and you're not taking it home as much as you are as like some other
But I mean, when we
position.
first got into the business, I mean, I've been in it 30 years now. Um, when I first started, everybody that I was working with on a show were so passionate about making films or TV shows, or the creative process. We'd hang out at set or on the truck tailgates at Wrap and have a beer, talk about the day, talk about our lives. Somebody would pull out a guitar and play it or whatever. And now most of the crew, it's punch cards. It's all about, am I in Meal Pelany? Am I, I'm going to hit overtime in 2 minutes. Um, oh, I hate this caterer. Can you please get a new
Oh my God.
caterer? Um, you
Yes.
know, I
Yeah.
mean, it's the sense of entitlement that exists in our industry now wasn't there 20 plus years ago.
Well, I've been hearing this a lot from other producers, and I've been actually hearing this from like American producers who've decided to no longer film in Vancouver, the
Right.
entitlement. I mean, but I will say, like, in defense of the crew,
Mhm.
they've also been taken advantage of a lot in this
Yeah,
industry. We
I
all
agree.
have been. I
I
have
agree.
been so much. I mean, God, I just did like I was expected to do a month of free work on the last film I line produced, which was crazy. Oh, um, so even I'm getting taken advantage of as a
Right.
line producer, but um, they've been taken advantage of a lot.
Right.
So good for them for sticking up for themselves. And but at the same time, it's hard because when we're making these tiny little indies and like the PA is making more than me because I've reinvested all my fees, but I'm spending 24/7 working on this project for years.
Right.
Um, it's tough because I'm like, come on, like we just want to make a good film and
Right.
it's a local indie
Right.
and like we can do this together and like luckily I've had such great crew who have gone above and beyond.
Right.
But yeah, there's some times where you're like, don't give me the that's not my department thing. We're
Right.
all doing this together. I'm like carrying tables and you know what I mean? I like shoveling crap off the ground and stuff like that. So it's tough. It's hard because I do want to, I respect the crew that I work with and I
Yeah.
love them and I want to treat them really well.
Yeah.
So I want to understand where they're coming from, but also I know where I'm coming from. So yeah, I hear you, Avi. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
mean, it's hard, especially in the independent world where we're working mostly with non-union people or under non-union circumstances. We're working with union actors who we obviously have to
Mhm.
follow the rules of the road when it comes to working with them. We're also trying to make movies that are commercial that will sell internationally because we can't
Mhm.
rely just on Canada. We have to rely on the rest of the world to appreciate our films. We have to rely on trying to get into film festivals to get buzz about your film, which is super competitive. Like Sundance gets at least 13,000 submissions every year.
Crazy.
Um, and so does TIFF and so on and so forth. It's really hard to get into a film festival today. Um,
It's
and I'm
very
great.
hard.
It's
Yeah.
very hard. I mean, I was fortunate enough with my film, I got into over 45 film festivals, but does it translate into revenue internationally? No. Um, so it's very frustrating, and we as filmmakers, we just want people to see our films, right? We
Hmm.
think about the money side of it and getting recouping and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, we also are passionate about the films that we're making, and we
Yeah.
really would love people to see our film and hopefully that it has an effect on them in some way in the positive sense.
Hmm.
Um, but it's hard, right? It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard. Yeah. Yeah. And we want to tell our stories. And yeah, we do. We want people to like our films. And I think that, it starts at home. Like we need to encourage Canadians to be supporting more Canadian content. I mean, Heated Rivalry is a great example of a global success story. And now these two stars who are like presenting at the Oscars.
Yeah.
So, creating our own star system.
Mhm.
Um, that's great. Like I really hope we see more success like that out of Canada. And I hope that financiers and broadcasters are seeing this success and they're wanting to recreate it and put more money into trying to,
But I
you
think the
know,
star system should be extended past just the cast. For example, Jacob Tierney, who's been in this industry forever,
right.
and following in his father's footsteps, who produced and directed Bon Cop, Bad Cop. Um, he's deserved his laurels and successes for years, and
Hmm.
finally, Heated Rivalry has put his name on the map, thankfully. But it's been years and years and years of struggling to get by, both as an actor and as a writer, director, producer. It's been tough. And most of us are going through the same thing where, you know, we talk about star system, but they've always talked about star system as far as the actors are concerned. Well, what about the directors who are making the undertones of the world that are becoming super successful, and some of the other films that were being made, and TV series that are being made by Canadians for Canadians and for the international market,
Mhm.
that aren't getting their laurels either, right? Like the SAR system should include everybody in the industry if they're great at what they do,
I agree. Yes, I do
And I,
agree.
I think we need to have that conversation about what defines a star in this industry. And it needs to be beyond, again, just the cast, right? And many of Denis Villeneuve, made great films in Canada, went down to LA and is now going to direct the next Bond film, and he's done Dune and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
He's a huge star. He's a huge
Yes.
recognizable name. And there are many other people down there that are, in various different positions in the industry that need to get their cred too.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I really
True.
believe that. I think it's problematic for just recognizing the people in front of the camera when it's like producers. I mean, I'll tell you this story. So, I made a movie called Score a Hockey Musical, which opened the Toronto International Film Festival, and it played at Roy Thompson Hall. We obviously got all dressed up to the nines to go to the premiere. We got picked up by limos. We go to the red carpet behind Roy Thompson. Um, my partner Allison and I get out of the car and we step on the red carpet, and somebody says, "Who's that?" And somebody says, "Oh, he's just a producer. He's nobody."
Oh,
But I mean, if you think about it, who's the last person to get thanked or paid
oh,
or anything on a
oh.
show?
I never expect to be treated well as a producer,
Yeah,
ever. People hate me. If something goes wrong, it's my fault. If
yeah,
something goes right, it's whoever else's fault, not mine. Like,
yeah.
I never expect much love as a producer, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, I would tell you, and I'm sure you would agree, being directing your own thing makes you a better producer.
In what way? I'm just curious.
I just think that the way we talk to directors and what our expectations
Mm,
are of a director, we have that in the back of our head while we're shot listing, or we're doing all the things that we expect our directors to do when they're
right.
making movies for you as a producer. And your call to action is that, you know, you live by your words, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on my film that I
Yeah.
directed, I made the crew hold me accountable for getting the day. I
Mm.
timelined every day. I shot listed for every
Oh, I
day,
see. Yeah.
and
Hmm.
the crew held me accountable that we had to break for lunch when we needed to break for lunch, that we wrapped when we needed to wrap,
Good.
that if we there were shots that we were never going to get, that the way I shot listed my film was that I defined which shots I didn't need to have, that I could not do if I
Hmm.
was getting behind,
Right.
right? So, yeah, to me, I think I learned a lot of lessons as a director to be a better producer in how I talk to directors.
Okay.
Um,
I like
so,
that.
which I think is
Hmm.
important. Um, so we're almost at the end of our time. I wanted to just get you to talk about what you're working on now, what you have coming up, so that people can look out for this stuff, and follow what you're doing.
Okay, great. Yeah. So we're going to be releasing Armageddon Road soon, I think. Are we doing a theatrical release? We got to have a
That's the
call about this,
plan.
but that's the plan. So hopefully, Armageddon Road will be at some theaters across Canada soon. I have a film, What Comes Next, which was a telefilm funded scripted feature that is nominated for 5 Leo Awards, which is the British Columbia Awards. So that's exciting, and I'm trying to figure out the Canadian and world release for that. It's played film festivals, but now I gotta get that baby out into the world. It stars Mina Suvari, who's an absolute wonderful gem, and was directed and Allison Thornton and Aaron Ashmore was directed by
Right.
Alex Caulfield.
Yeah.
I have Lunatic, the Luna Vachon story, screening on Hollywood Suite and Hollywood Suite on Demand, and I'm trying to get it out into the US right now. So I have a lot of wrestling fans who want to watch it. I have a scripted feature called Night Terror that is just finishing up color correction. It's a comedy slasher. It's really fun. It takes
Yeah.
place in a summer camp. Um, well, no, it's not a summer. It's not a summer camp. We filmed it at a summer camp, but it's like a workplace
A
retreat.
retreat.
Yes.
Right.
So and we got Colin Mockery and Daniel Doheny and
Wow.
Jonathan Cherry and Ozric Chow and Catherine Isabel. Like we've got such a great cast. They're so funny. So I can't wait for that film to get in the world. We're still strategizing what we're doing with it. And then I have a couple documentaries in development right now, and Karen and I have a couple projects in development. I have another film that I'm trying to raise money for. I have a lot in development. So if anyone has money that they want to throw towards a movie, I mean, come to me. I got stuff.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at right now.
Well, I'll tell you, based on the projects that you're finishing and stuff, if you're looking for a distributor for them, I'm happy to talk to you about it.
Thanks. Okay, yeah, we'll talk.
And
Hmm.
congratulations on all the things that you're doing. Like really, like you're you're an inspiration to many of us.
Thanks. I don't
And
think
you're just going for it, and I truly appreciate that. And um, Mike, are you there?
Yeah, I'm muted, but yes, hello.
Hi, would you like to ask anything of Kate?
Have you ever, yeah, you're very young, so this may be
I am very
impossible.
young.
You're
That's
very
right.
young. Well, compared to
Hmm.
Avi and I, you're very young. But did you ever visit the Stu Hart dungeon?
Oh, no. Oh my God. I would love to visit the Stu Hart Dungeon. I mean, growing up in Alberta, the Hart family, they were everything to us.
Mhm.
And I will say there's this an Owen Hart documentary that's being made right
Yeah,
now
yeah,
by Raven Banners attached to.
yeah.
It is so incredible. I've seen a clip and I cried. It is so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure we'll all be watching that film when it comes
There's
out.
amazing wrestling stories that haven't been told, and I would sure love to tell them.
Oh,
Because
me
I'm
too.
a big wrestling fan, and maybe Kate and I will
Let's do it.
make
Tell
something
it.
together
Yeah.
because I'm a huge wrestling fan and feel that there's so many great stories about wrestlers of the past that people don't even know about, like
Oh my,
really.
yeah.
And
Yes.
that world is massive, massive. So
Huge.
Kate, you and I
And
will be talking about
yeah,
that.
people who like wrestling, like they love wrestling. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, you got a lot of built-in fans there.
And
yeah,
Yeah.
the Dark Side of the Ring series just won a CSA for best
yeah. They've
documentary
been winning
series.
CSAs. I think they've done like 4 or 5 seasons of it, and it's a great show. But I mean, the one-off documentaries that have been done are truly amazing and very successful, and have traveled through festivals around the world and sold all over the world. Um, and there's lots more stories to tell in the squared circle, so to
Hmm.
speak. So,
Yeah.
um, Kate, thank you for being with us today on Unleashed, a producer's guide to indie filmmaking, episode 111. And I look forward to talking to you offline about various things and helping you get Armageddon Road out to people everywhere. Look for it
Thank you.
soon in theaters
Soon.
and then eventually online.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it, and it's great seeing you again.
Yeah,
And
nice chatting with you.
have a great rest of your day.
Okay, take care, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.